I can't believe you guys thought that last chapter was the only action we were getting, because the next couple chapters are just action. And wow, it feels good to actually be reading something exciting. Not that I haven't had fun reading the last couple chapters, because I absolutely have. They've been super funny and been building up so much. But wow, it's just nice to have all of the build up come to an actually super cool climax. Because in the next couple of chapters, we actually get to see QUANXI start making her moves. We get to see Tolka start making his moves. We even get to see Aldo start doing his own shit. Kinda, sorta. Even though he kind of fucking sucks.
This guy stinks!
But we get to see it, and wow, does it feel good to see something happen. So if you want to join me in seeing some more action-packed shit, go down there, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, leave a comment, leave a like. Let me know that you like what I'm doing, because these will actually be the last 2 chapters that I review together, because after this, we actually get into the next volume, and I'm going to be reviewing each volume in a whole whenever I can. I'm going to try once a week, but I won't actually know if I can do that until I start and see how taxing it is and how long of a video it'll actually be and if it's actually realistic. But the plan is to drop one every single week, because I feel like that would be cool and we'd get caught up to Chainsaw Man very quick. I feel like I might have made a teensy little mistake starting where I did, because most of the views, to be completely honest, are in the most current chapter of Chainsaw Man. That's what most people want to see, and I'd like to get there, but I want to give people a basis to build on in case they haven't had the time or the energy to go back and read through all of Chainsaw Man. So I can get everybody caught up, and then I can be caught up with y'all and be checking out the newest chapters as they come out. Because to be completely honest with all of you, I'm not caught up with the manga either. I know a couple of little things that happen, but all of this really is my first time reading the manga too. So I'm really enjoying this. This is giving me the perfect excuse to do something that I've never done before, which is get into a manga and read it all the way through and really examine every single little detail so that I can share it with all of you. But without any more of my over-exaggerated ranting, because I did just get off of an 8-hour shift and then dig a fucking hole in the backyard for some reason, I'm going to get into this chapter titled Chapter 60, QUANXI and the Fiends 49-Person Massacre.
Damn!
Yes. Yeah, we get to see that. It's not clickbait at all. It really happened. So we start off chapter 60, seeing new dolls being made from the old dolls, touching even more civilians. And each of these dolls know that the primary objective is to get to Denji. And so they're all rushing the department store and even learning, because random guy A from the last chapter with the Fox Devil is using his keen powers, the swipe, and the dolls are actually jumping around and dodging each of his swipes. They're learning and they're adapting to his powers. So as they close into the distance and they're about to get up on them and actually start doing some damage and maybe even turning them into dolls, Angel, the Angel Devil, steps forward and unsheaths the lifespan weapon and prepares to strike. And we see they deliver one quick blow that gets rid of 5 different dolls all at one time, knocking them all over, and maybe even more that we didn't see. It's implied that they really cut down a bunch with this weapon, because random guy A then asks, wow, that's a crazy weapon. I've never seen the lifespan sword in action like that. Why didn't you pull it out sooner? To which, the Angel Devil says, I have my own reasons, but let's be completely honest. Random guy A is a freaking idiot, because who would be using a weapon that steals your lifespan every time you swing it if it steals your lifespan every time you swing it? What do you mean? Why didn't you pull that out earlier?
You are made of stupid.
It's pretty self-explanatory. Do you want to cough up some lifespan? I didn't think so. Also, I actually got that wrong. It wasn't random guy A who asked that. It was Yoshida. Yoshida. What the hell are you thinking? You know the answer. So after random guy A says that they've already contacted Devil Hunter HQ, and we see Kusakabe say that so far so good, and he doesn't look very confident about that, we actually go over to the backup that's actually on the way, and we get to see what they're doing, which is not very good for them.
Oh no!
Yeah, because they are coming up against QUANXI right now. They're in a back alley, and there's 5 of them. I had to check really quick. I have the screen to the side. there's 5 of these hunters coming up against QUANXI and her 4 fiends. And QUANXI, speaking Chinese, says that, and I had to look it up because it is in Chinese in the manga. So good job, Fujimoto. You have successfully tested my reading comprehension skills. And what she says in Chinese basically amounts to, ladies, as per usual, clean up the rest. And she takes a stance on the ground with 2 legs like stanced up and 1 hand on the ground. She's basically taking a crawling form, or the stance of a runner right before they hit the 100-meter dash. And just like that, she's gone. And the devil hunters are super confused because from their POV, this chick just disappeared with literally no warning and no signs of where she could have gone. But we get to see what's actually happening. As we follow her, she's a blur as she blurs by them, and between the crowd of dolls coming through, up into the building and up the stairs. And whenever she gets to the end of her dash, she then looks at her sword, which is completely shattered, and she has to throw it to the side and unsheath 2 new swords. Now, it's at this point that we cut back to where she just left, as the devil hunters are still wondering where she just went. And they don't speak Chinese, so whenever the shadow-haired fiend, we're going to call her the shadow-haired fiend, whenever the shadow-haired fiend starts laughing at them and says that a corpse is talking, basically a dead man's talking, that's how I read it. No, she really meant the corpse is talking, because when this man gets mad that she's not speaking Japanese, even though she's in Japan, he tells his buddy to start using his devil powers, and then his buddy does nothing. So he looks over at his buddy like, hey man, what's the whole...
お前はもう死んでいる。
Wow, because his buddy's head is cut clean in half. And guess what? So is his. And so is the rest of the other 3 people that he brought. They're all cut in half right under the eyes. It is crazy graphic, and honestly, I don't even know if I can show it on YouTube. I might, but I might be risking demonetization with it, to be completely honest. After seeing what she did to the devil hunters on her breeze past, we get to see what QUANXI did on the rest of her morning stroll, which was decapitate all of the dolls that were on the way to the department store, bisect all of the ones that were in the department store on the waist, literally cut them clean in half, and then did the same thing to everything up to floor 2. And as Aki looks around and just sees that there's heads flying off of dolls with no real rhyme or reason, he understands that something is not right. And so as he sprints towards Random Guy A and the Angel Fiend, trying to tell them to defend themselves, it's too late, because before the words can even come out of Aki's mouth, Random Guy A has been treated with the Devil Hunter treatment of getting his fucking face sliced in half. Wow. But luckily, Aki's able to save his special friend from the Devil Hunter treatment as he dives onto the Angel Fiend and unsheaths his sword to block the strike coming from QUANXI. And while he does block it, they do still both go unconscious, which is just speaking to the level of strength that QUANXI has. I mean, they were not overestimating her strength when they said that if everybody in the world fought, she would come out on top. But now that QUANXI is done with her first 2 victims, we have plenty more for her to get to, because in the last page, we see as she's squatting down behind Aki and the Angel Devil after freshly knocking them out, and turning her head to see Denji and Power, who I guess are the next targets on her list. I bet y'all thought that that was going to be the end of the video, huh? Did y'all not listen at the beginning when I told you that we were getting 2 chapters today? 2. And then I'm starting to do the whole volumes. So you ain't never just getting 1 chapter again, not until we're actually caught up with the manga.
Oh, that's that good shit!
So roll chapter 62, titled News Reporter. So in the beginning of chapter 62, we're going to pick up exactly where 61 left off, just at a different place, because at the beginning of this chapter we're seeing QUANXI's fiends walking around finishing off the dolls like QUANXI told them to. And so the Halloween Devil's trying to sneak off, and it seems like the shadow-haired fiend is actually kind of more of the responsible one of the group, as she's keeping everybody together and keeping everybody as a cohesive unit. But at this point, Kishibe pulls up to the scene with the violence fiend and our girl Kobeni, who still is doing nothing, because Kishibe basically says, I got this, You two go handle the dolls, because you guys need to get rid of that while I got my hands tied up doing a 4v1. Kishibe is proving why he's a badass. Let's just go ahead and say that. He's proving why he trained the MC of Chainsaw Man. Can we just acknowledge that real quick?
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
But it's at this point that the shadow-haired fiend does something actually pretty cool, but also pretty interesting, where she takes that shadowy monster hair that she has, and she puts it in front of her eye, and she forms a hole in the middle of it, and uses it like a kind of spying glass to look at Kishibe. And when she does, she says that she can see what devils that he has a contract to, saying that he has a contract with the Claw Devil, with the Needle Devil, and with the Knife Devil, which are all, apparently in her words, pretty dangerous devils. But she's not very worried because he doesn't have any more, or well, barely has any more body parts to make contracts with any other devils left in his body. So she's pretty confident and tells the rest of the girls to help her gobble him up. Her words, not mine. A little freaky if you ask me. But it's at this point that we cut back to QUANXI, and wow, are we about to get a free-for-all, I'm telling you. Because QUANXI, now with 2 broken swords, yeah, that's right, she broke both of them when she was swinging them at Aki and the Angel Devil, because she was swinging to kill. And so she drops these swords, and it is straight hands from here on out. Because she starts with a swift high kick all the way up to Denji's jaw, sending him flying. And in the next panel, she swings her legs to deliver 2 more kicks, one with each leg, to both, I think his name was Kusakabe and Tamaki. That was them. You can't say I don't remember things. I am really bad with names, but I got it. And as she's coming to rush up onto Yoshida, Yoshida says octopus, apparently summoning his devil, which is the octopus devil, which is pretty cool, I cannot lie. I think octopuses are cool. But before he can actually get something off, QUANXI's already speed blitzed him and sent him rolling. Literally kicked him so hard he backflipped. But when he gets back up, he does summon the octopus devil and basically makes an ink cloud for him to disappear into, only appearing on the other side to try and assassinate QUANXI with. But QUANXI's too quick on the draw and hits him so hard he drops the knife, grabs it, flips it around, and is about to finish the job when she hears Kishibe come in saying her name. And so she turns to face Kishibe, who seems like she has a past with, and Kishibe is holding 2 of her fiends, the shadow-haired fiend and the horned fiend, and he says, been a long time. And so QUANXI, understanding the kind of scenario that she's in, just walks over and takes a seat at a table. So Kishibe hands off his hostages to Power and Denji, who are getting up from probably concussions, if I had to guess. I'm surprised it's not comas, let's be honest. And so Power says that she was just pretending and playing dead. Denji's not hiding it. He says that shit sucked. And he takes one of them and Power takes the other, and they get them into chokeholds as Kishibe and QUANXI have themselves a little chat. Now, while they're looking out of this department store from what I can only assume is a magnificent view, QUANXI's first question is obvious. Where's the other 2 fiends? You only showed up with 2, to which Kishibe says that they got away from him, they escaped, but that there's a perimeter around the area by the Devil Hunter, the Public Safety Committee, and it's only a matter of time before they get caught, to be completely honest. So as soon as his boys finish up downstairs, he's taking her into custody. Now to this, QUANXI wonders if being leashed has made Kishibe, the mad dog, calm a little bit down, and he's acting a lot more crafty than she remembers him being. To which he says, I'm pushing 50, that's enough to mellow you out. And I mean, he does have a point. I remember seeing him in the show. Dude was getting up there, and he's still taking people out like a badass. I mean, he just did a 4-on-1, and he's powerful enough to where QUANXI, the woman who just decapitated like 29 people in 5 seconds, isn't even trying to fight back. Now, yes, he does have hostages under his belt, but I'm sure that if she thought she could, she would speed blitz Power and Denji, ripping her girls out of their hands before they could even say Pochita. But Kishibe responds with, I lost my fangs a long time ago. But as he says this, he holds up a notepad, and the notepad says Makima is listening. And so QUANXI continues on this fake conversation that they're having about getting old and retirement as Kishibe is writing notes onto this notepad and showing them to QUANXI. And so the next note says that if QUANXI does what he wants, that he will let her go and guarantee her freedom and safety, followed by another note that says that he wants to kill Makima, and that if she helps, he will explain everything after the fact. To this, QUANXI takes a little bit of silence, and I mean, who wouldn't have to take a second from that? That's pretty heavy to lay on a conversation where you were just talking about how you're losing track of the times and watching the news to stay up to date because you're kind of getting old. But on this topic, QUANXI realizes that she has something that kind of relates to this. And so she says the news. And when she's talking about the news, she starts talking about a reporter that she used to have a big crush on. She says that this reporter really was her type, and that she would watch this reporter on the news every single day. But eventually it came to light that this reporter had been lying about her age. And as soon as that came out, it was like a floodgate. And it was like every single day somebody had something new about what she had been lying about. QUANXI, having really liked this reporter, stopped watching the news after this. But she says it's not because the reporter changed, it's because she changed. And she tells Kishibe that as an old friend to another, he should just keep his collar on because ignorance is bliss in this world. But when she says this, we get flashed a panel of a pistol. Now, my first thought was, wow, Kishibe just suddenly didn't like being called a dog, even though that was apparently his nickname. But actually, the gun is being wielded by Aldo, who at this point is no longer donning his disguise, and is actually just rolling in, strutting his stuff, pointing the gun at Denji. And he actually takes a couple of pot shots. But I guess Kishibe has the reaction time of a freaking god, because from what it looks like, and it's kind of hard to tell what's happening here, it looks like he kicks Denji out of the way so that the bullet misses him. But when he does, and Denji starts to fall, the Horned Devil regains consciousness and decides that it's time to make her move. And so in the last page of chapter 61, she makes her move, flips around, grabs Denji by the arm, and pins him down, and screams at QUANXI, to which QUANXI and Kishibe take the opportunity to trade one solid left hook from one another. And wow, I'm so excited. This shit's been so fucking cool, dude. I actually cannot believe that it picked up this fast, this quick. I've never been one to read much manga. I actually started this YouTube channel so that I could get into reading manga and share it with other people because I felt like it would be boring to do it just by myself as a side thing. But I felt like I could get some motivation to do it if I could share the experience with a bunch of people. But I feel like I might have just been underestimating just how enjoyable it was to take in the source material, because this stuff has been awesome. Sometimes at the beginning it was hard for me to tell what was happening in each panel and follow what would happen in, say, an anime. But as I've gone through the last couple of chapters with all of y'all, it's actually started to click more in my brain, and stuff really just makes a whole lot more sense. So I've really just been enjoying myself these last couple of chapters, these last handful of chapters, I should say, and I cannot wait to get into the next volume, where I'm going to try and hopefully succeed in doing a volume review every week. And if not every week, it'll be every 2 weeks, but I'm going to shoot for every week because I really want to blast through this Chainsaw Man stuff so that I can get to where we currently are and be able to release those chapters, because let's be honest, views. But also, I really want to be able to make theory videos about what's going on. So with all of that being said, I really hope that you guys are enjoying this series as much as I am, and I'm sorry for the shock that it's probably going to be seeing me go from chapters to whole volume reviews, but I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching the video nonetheless, and I really do hope that you're enjoying yourselves here. And if you are, please go down below, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and also tap that notification bell if you really want to know whenever I upload. I try to upload once a week. So with all of that said, I've been Shit for Brains, and I'm checking out. Peace, y'all.